How do folks? How you doing? Just a quick one. I thought we'd talk about claims. Folks, and we might even branch, you never know. Folks are asking about claims a lot at the minute, and how to and what to, and how you put a claim form together. And I thought I'll better cover a few important points with claim forms. Now, first of all, you've got to comprehend, if you are going in under CPR, you are using legislation against them, and you need to know what you're doing. If you're going to stand as a man, you need to know exactly how you're a woman. You need to know exactly how you're going to do that, or where you're going to do that, what course you're going to do that, or how you're going to stand. Now, it's all well and good in any of your claims stating that you're the man or woman, but if you're going to emphasise the point of your status, you're in the wrong cause. If you're going to try and create remedy for your status, you're in the wrong cause. You're trying to create remedy for the situation if you're using their forms for that sort of thing. Now, this is where we've been trying to explain on the bring the claims thing. Folks are getting it mixed up with the status, and I did try and say earlier on that what I'm doing is remedy for all. So when I'm explaining the court process, I'm pretty much stating for everybody out there who wants to bring a claim. And as a man or a woman, it's a different process totally. If you've got your status evidenced, then you're following a totally different process. If you haven't got your status evidence, then what you're doing anyway, you can't. It won't work. If you don't know who you are, you can't stand as it. So you have to keep that in mind. Now, your claims form in particular, there has to be certain elements, and the elements have to be correct. And if the elements aren't correct, it'll be labelled ineligible or whatever they say, and they'll strike it out, basically, because you're following CPR but you haven't followed CPR. So the way you lay your claim form out, you want your cause of action. Now, if you've got multiple cause of actions, these want to be laid out separately. So you have your cause of action and you have your elements. And now your cause of action, I don't know, what have they done? Theft, kidnap, abduction, if you've been arrested, or whatever, unlawful imprisonment, whatever your cause of action is. And you need to cover why it's the jurisdiction of the court, or that it is the jurisdiction of the court. You cover that, so there's no question, there's jurisdiction of the court because it was kidnap and this court deals with kidnap, or whatever you're putting in there. You define it under the law dictionary's definitions, not just Google. And you put your elements of the cause of action, which is basically what they've done, how they've done, why it's unlawful, illegal in their realm, etc., etc. And then you need to come down to a wherefore clause. There needs to be a wherefore at the end, which is your remedy, basically. Wherefore you're moving the court to give remedy on blah 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 blah, and you state what your remedy is. The court wants to know what your remedy is, so you tell them what you want, and it needs to be known to English law. So make sure it's known to English law before you put your remedy there. You can't just put something silly there and expect to get it, you know, on a bouquet of flowers with 2 balloons on it with a sorry message. Not known to English law, strike out. So be aware, yes, they're pedantic, but are they pedantic? Because one thing from actually coming to the knowing of what's going on, you actually realise as well what they can't do. And what they can't do is take any piece of paper that comes in going meh, 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 and pass a judgment on it and turn it into a lawful process. No courts can do that. If they did, they'd get people complaining about the neighbour's dog shitting in the garden. It just can't be done. It'd be too much, it'd be inundating. So they've created this system which is wholly unfair. But I suppose, I remember a quote from years and years and years and years ago. A Judge John Hopkins from Nottingham Crown Court, and he says, the law is an ass, but it's the best we've got. And I believe it was referring to the fact that they can't do anything. Now, these are from days when judges were actually honourable. I believe, and it is just my belief from what I've seen, that younger and younger judges have come in that haven't done the years and years of judging, that haven't got the years and years of wisdom, and probably come to the comprehension of like real rights and wrong at the depths of it. They're just doing the job and following the Bar Society's suggestions and teachings, and that's how they change law. What can we say? Now, when you get in front of a good judge, or your paperwork gets in front of a good judge, they might send it back saying, on first glance, when you read why they've struck it out, that's unfair. But when you actually look into a true judge's wordings and you look very deep, they're actually giving you direction. And yes, it might seem insulting. How dare they say that's ineligible? But he's not talking about he couldn't understand what it said. The law doesn't understand what it says. So he's actually telling you. He's telling you right there, correct it. Make it so the law can comprehend it. So it's right at law. If he tells you this and that is because of your elements are wrong, don't go, how dare he? Look at it. Because he's telling you something. Look at it and see where your elements are wrong. Because 9 times out of 10, or every time I've seen, when they strike these out, there's a little bit at the bottom saying you can resubmit or appeal it, or ask to set aside that judgment, should I say. So you can ask to set aside that judgment if you correct your shit, but if you're not going to correct your shit, don't. So there's a lot of comprehension needing to be going on around here, and a lot less of just like, I see a template, I'll send it. If you're going to get deep with the law, at least comprehend what you're doing, at least put some effort into comprehending what you're doing. You can't just get something and send it. If you get something and send something at the deep level of law, when it comes to especially your claims, you're dealing with somebody else's, and every single one is different. Everything is different. If I've got a cause of action of theft and you've got a cause of action of theft, the elements are going to be totally different. So you can't use my form. So you have to have your own comprehension, right? This is theft. Why is it theft? That's theft because of that. The court have to deal with it because of that. Yes, that's their jurisdiction, and this is why it's their jurisdiction. You get all this put in place, and you've got your perfected claims form. Excuse me. And you put this claims form in. There's no reason for them to send it back to you and kick it out as ineligible if it's perfectly eligible. So take the direction and don't just believe that it's unfair. Now, the system is very unfair. The system and the law is an ass. It's not the best they can do. It's not even the best they've got, because legislation covers the law. And the reality is, I was listening to that black belt lawyer the other day talking about common law, and I'm just shaking my head because it's so bar registered, planted fucking misinformation. Although what he says is technically right in a lot of cases, and he was right on his explanation of common law, absolutely, but massively wrong. And a lot of this scene is massively wrong by harping on about common fucking law. It's not about common law at all. It's not about common law. If it's any law, it's natural law. But it's about right and wrong. This at law, at the law, at written law, at the rule of law, it's there. If you go to pre-1700s on all your laws and look at what's repealed within the laws and what isn't, because you can't just throw a law out, you're going to learn some serious shit, some real serious shit, and you're going to see where it pertains to you exactly. And you check if that bit's been repealed, and you'll go, oh bloody hell, that bit hasn't, so now I can use that specifically. Like the Magna Carta, not a great deal of the Magna Carta stands. People focused on the bits that were repealed. There's a couple of great bits that actually do stand, but you can't just scream Magna Carta. You have to state the bit that has not been repealed. You have to state what it is. These are the things that you need to direct your studies on. And if you do that and you study well, and you use specific laws and require specific performance, you're going to have a totally different take on what's going on, I assure you. So, folks, I hope that clears a few things up on claims. And I am going to leave this as a quick one. There's a surprise, but only because I'm sat outside the butcher's and I've got to go in. Didn't do much due diligence on pre-planning, did I? But in all honesty, I think I've covered an important factor that folks are questioning a lot at the minute. And I can't stress enough how your own due diligence is the important factor. Folks so often want to just pick something up, put their signature to it and send it, or their autograph and send it off. It isn't about that. It's about comprehending what you're doing. If you're sending something off, I mean, fair play. If you haven't got the ability to write something somebody else has, there's your great starting point. You've got something written for you. Read it, comprehend it, learn the bits that you don't comprehend. And that's the important factor. Because folks will skip over shit because, I'll just get past that. I don't know, that's a bit over me, that is. Why? It's a bit over the knowledge you've got at the minute, so educate yourself. You come to a word or a term that you don't comprehend, look it up. Just look it up. Black's Law Dictionary online. Go into Wonky World and just download the Black's Law Dictionary there. You can just look up these words and terms and you go, oh, bloody hell, that's how they mean, that's what they mean by it. If something's quoted of Aylesbury's Law, go into Aylesbury's Law and find it. Don't just say, where exactly is it? You find it for me and send me the exact fucking page and I can look. That isn't you doing your due diligence. If you do your due diligence and you look yourself, you will find 10 other things that you wouldn't have found out if somebody told you the exact page. And that's the whole point of looking. Because you're learning, you're building your knowledge base, not just on the one thing. Knowledge isn't all about that. It's about reading through lots of things. And then when you have got occasion for it, you know that you've read it somewhere and then you've got a starting point. Now you can go back and find it. If you didn't bother reading it in the first place, you've got no clue at all. It's right over your head and you're stuck. And then you just got to go to somebody else and say, can you write me another template? Well, that isn't how this all works, and it isn't how it was set up to work. It was set up for a trust to handle your affairs because you weren't able to handle them yourselves. Now, that's how they word it. Reality is, it was set up to enslave you and have you keep offering your consent. But if you're not going to learn the shit, you're going to keep doing that bit. But hey, I'm not going to digress into that because I've got some pork chops waiting. So at the minute, I'm going to bugger off and leave it there, and maybe we'll touch on it again, maybe we'll do a bit more, or maybe that'll give you your starting point to do your own due diligence and look things up. We have lots of people booking calls with us on Unchained Remedy on a daily basis. We're having calls, we are happy to do them obviously, and that gives more precise and direct information and more options, obviously, because I can't cover everything on here. There's just too bloody much, and everybody's circumstances is different. And this is one big downfall. Folks don't realise or can't realise that everybody's circumstances is different. If something got stolen from me and something got stolen from you, we haven't gone through the same experience. We've both lost something, but the experience was different. Somebody could have come in with a machete with me and forced me to hand something over, where somebody could have sneaked into your house at night because you'd forgot to lock the door and just snuck something away. Totally different elements. So people can't expect a one size fits all. You've got to put your own due diligence into what's happened to you, your circumstances, and make all of what you do about what is your circumstance. You can only get the outline of a template. You can't get a templated process for your personal situation. You can only, like I say, a very, very basic template. Here's how one's laid out, and this is that. But you've got to create all of your elements. You've got to create your causes of action, and each one individually, like I say, has to have its own section. So you've got a cause of action, you've got the elements, you've got the jurisdiction, and you've also got the wherefore clause at the bottom, which is wherefore they must give you remedy. And if you haven't got that in, you're not going to hit the mark. But if you've got theft, abduction, so you've got pulled over in your motor while you was travelling, your car got stolen off you, and you were abducted, put in prison or put in the police cells overnight, or whatever happens, then there's two different causes of action there. So one is your theft cause of action, and you've got your elements of that and your wherefore clause of that, and then you go on to your abduction, your elements of that and your wherefore clause of that, and so on and so forth. For every one there must be one, and that's how you will lay it out. So I hope that clears a few things up for folks, and yeah, just your own due diligence always. So often we hear things like, oh, so and so said to us, or so and so from such and such group said, so I did. Well, that wasn't putting your due diligence into it. You wasn't making sure that this was right. Was it going to hit the mark? Was it going to do what is affected? Or did you get the right information? Because sometimes you don't know the outcome until you try. Again, everybody's different. Everybody's situation is different. There isn't a one size fits all. It doesn't work that way. Every single situation is different. Sometimes you may be in the bloody wrong and you just will not accept it. That happens so much. Other times, and which I've seen so much, even really, really good people making fatal errors. Fatal, absolutely. Day one errors, fatal, and we can all make them. It's just a fucking brain fart moment where, oh, bollocks, I've done that. But sometimes you can screw yourself right over. You're dealing with the highest or the deepest levels of the law. So if you make a fatal error, you can't just turn around and go, so what do I do? With this look on your face, because I get that so often. What next then? No, you're not listening to me. You've just fucked it up. Here's an hand grenade. You pulled the pin, you let go, and you waited fucking 3 seconds. Boom! It blew up. And I'm getting this so often lately. So what do I do now then? No, you're not hearing me. You just totally fucked it up by doing that. I can't even say how daft it was, but that's what you've done. You knew better, and you've done that. And this has happened a few times. So what now? No, I've just told you, you've just blew it. And then I'm the bad guy for giving the bad news. People need to realise you've got to do your due diligence, you've got to do things right. And if you fuck up, you've got to realise you've just learned a really valuable lesson. And it's not just now you've got to suffer the consequences. Now take from it what you can. An absolute fantastic lesson. Now regroup, relearn, come at it from a better angle, a right angle, correctly, and do the bugger properly. It's called direction. Not every failure is a failure. Fatal ones, yes, they can be absolutely fatal, and that's the end of that fucker. You just got to learn from that and deal with your next situation better. Sometimes it happens. If that's the bad news, you've got to accept that's the bloody bad news. Nothing anybody can do about it. I'm not in control of other people's actions, and I'm also not responsible for other people's actions either. So if somebody says to me, what do I do now? And I say, sorry mate, you fucked that up. You can't just come back, so what do I do? No, fucked up means fucked up. And it can be done. It can be done. We can all fuck up. And along the way, I've made many fuck ups of my own shit. I don't believe I've got anybody into trouble. But I've made many fuck ups of my own shit. And I've watched many people make their own fuck ups. I've sent loads of notices and gone, oh God, I shouldn't have put that in there. Or I should have put that in there. Or I should have sent that there. You correct your mistakes and you move forward. And if it is fatal, you forget that one. You take that one on the chin because you're lost. Sometimes you can if you fuck up, and you learn for next time. So really important lessons, and this time I'm really going. So anyway folks, look after yourself. I hope that's taught some folks a few valuable bits and bobs. Like I say, I'm not here for structured education. I don't do that shit. I just try to get folks thinking right and getting that in order. This bit comes after that. If folks are going to turn it around the other way, then all I can do is work retrospect, and I can't take on individually. I've done all this, now what do I do? And now teach me what I've done shit. I've got so much going on, and obviously folks know Unchained Remedies there, keeping us very, very, very busy. And my study groups for those that have gone through the status programs, and the other things that we do. So we are there, like I say, for Zoom calls. You can find us on Unchained Remedy. There is an option to book a call there, and to discuss literally anything you want to discuss. Get an hour with us, to talk about absolutely anything. We will say whatever we can say, and offer whatever snippets of knowledge we've got. It seems to be effective. Folks seem to like it, and I don't think anybody's come off it unhappy. If there have, you should let us know, but maybe not. Maybe you can't be pleased. Some can't. It's a tricky old situation. Not everybody in this game is actually dedicated to it, and those that aren't are the ones that you find pretty much ask you a question, don't do absolutely anything at all with the information given, and then when the shit hits the fan, comes back to you and says, I got this, what do I do with this? Like you didn't get the advice on what to do with it in the first place. So due diligence and follow through. If you won't put your effort in, nobody else can do that for you. You have to put your effort into your life. If you want to fix your life in this wonky world where you're being attacked from every single angle, you can't hide behind somebody's shield. You need to put your effort in. And on that note, I'm going. Have a good one. Ta-da.